I'm Kylie,
And I'm Mike.
and we are the owners of The Hideaway. We have 2 off-grid cabins that we just started renting, and we are on the Miramichi River, so it's a beautiful surrounding. It's been a bit of a challenge getting them up and running because we are off-grid. Our main cabin is also off-grid, and
We live on site.
we do live on site.
Yeah. Years ago, we took off on a sailboat for 3.5 years. We lived on a 30-foot wooden boat. And we lived more or less, obviously, off-grid in that respect, but very basic power consumption needs, like 2 panels and, 2 6-volt Trojan batteries that, basically that was all we needed. So going back to sort of living back on land and getting back into business and stuff, we just needed a new adventure. So hence the coming out here and buying this property, which I will say we bought sight unseen, kind of rolled the dice, and and here we are. But we figured, with the advancements in solar and power generating systems and so on and so forth, that it was a lot easier to set all this stuff up, and we just kind of basically threw ourselves into the fire, so to speak, and had to figure it out in a hurry and set everything up, and it's working really well. We've got at this point we've been here a year and a half almost, and we basically have 4 buildings that are all independently run with absolutely no grid power, which has been pretty cool.
I think for us, a simple life has always been a priority. Maybe not a priority, but because we went sailing, it introduced us to a simple life, very simple life. And it was the best time of our lives. We sailed down to Venezuela and back on our 30-foot wooden boat. And when I say sailing back, we left from Ontario and we sailed the Great Lakes down to Venezuela and back. And just throughout that whole time, living so simply, off sun, wind,
fish out of the sea, that sort of thing.
We were eating fish out of the sea, and it was a really cool time. When we first were in Ontario and looking at moving out here, we knew that we would have to be off-grid, and our first source was the Cabin Depot.
Yeah.
And Mike, he called around and started talking to Kiefer. Kiefer really walked us through and became like a lifeline to us.
I probably had 4 or 5 conversations, lengthy conversations over the phone with him before we moved out here. I went to place an order and I was like, well, can you just ship it to our address or whatever? And he was like, well, we're in New Brunswick. I actually never even looked at the address in terms of where you were located. I just thought for sure it was a mail order thing. And so it was kind of funny. It's like literally an hour and 20 minutes away from where we lived. So that was actually perfect, but kind of funny at the same time.
It's a great store. I mean, everyone's always been so helpful and so friendly and knowledgeable every time we go in.
And it feels a bit like, it feels the way it should. It feels like a cabin when you walk in there, kind of thing. It's like all the goodies that, that we kind of revolve our lives around right now, or all the things that we need. It's kind of like all right there. So there's eye candy everywhere for us when we go in that store.
Just how knowledgeable and helpful everyone really has been. We came into this fairly green, so when I would go in on my own, I came out of there knowing way more than when I went in. So I would highly recommend them, and their pricing is the best pricing we've come across on most items.